is going to look at wrist mobility and strength. When we're doing certain exercises with our wrists, it is also going to impact further up our arms. So we're going to look at sort of the movement in the joints of the elbow, also how our muscles are reacting and our shoulders as well. So we're going to get started. We're going to lift our right hand up and we're going to take it to 90 degrees to the body. So it's nice and aligned. So I've got my shoulder, my elbow and wrists in line across the body for 3, for 2, for 1. From here, I'm just going to drop my little finger towards my palm, keeping my other fingers as straight as possible. And then I'm going to move down that hand, trying to make each movement, each finger touch my palm. I can't quite do that, keeping my fingers straight. But as I do so, especially I get towards my forefinger and my thumb, I'm going to feel that really in my wrist. So I'm going to go back, thumb to palm, forefinger to palm, middle finger, continuing down to my little pinky. Good. I'm now going to bring that arm in towards the body so it's nice and aligned with our torso facing forwards. I'm going to place my left hand underneath my right elbow and then I'm going to slowly, fixing this elbow and this arm in place, I'm going to slowly drop my right hand down towards my left elbow. Slowly lifting back up to a nice central position. And now this is where you need to hold on to this bottom part of the arm. Allow your hand to go outwards. So whole arm, we're working on the rotation of the shoulder here for 3, for 2, for 1. Dropping back down again. Lifting back up center. And then dropping out again. We're going to do this once more. You might notice that you've got a big difference on both sides. Just notice it, and if it's not causing you any significant issues or pain, it's absolutely fine. Otherwise, you can work on trying to even it out and balance it out. Good. Switching over, rolling those shoulders, and then going for the other side. So taking your left hand up and then out at 90 degrees. Spreading those fingers, dropping a thumb into the fist or into the palm. Continuing down that hand, all the way to the pinky. And then all the way back. Done it opposite on this hand. We still get to use or work each finger twice. Good. Bring that hand inwards, the arm inwards, taking our right hand underneath that left elbow, allowing that hand to drop all the way down to a 90-degree angle to parallel with the mat or the floor, and then slowly with control lift up to center and then allow the arm to go out. You're going to feel it in that shoulder area for 3, for 2, for 1, back up to center, all the way down, lifting up, and then across for 3, for 2, for 1. Last go, back to center, downwards, parallel with the mat, back up to center, outwards, feeling this in the shoulder for 2, for 1, back up to center, dropping down, rolling those shoulders. Good. Now, if you need to wring out those wrists, just move them around, and then bring them into prayer. Drop those shoulders, bring those hands together, so fingers are meeting each other, pushing your hands in together. And now we're just almost going to have a bit of a fight between our hands. So I'm going to actively push my right hand into my left hand, allowing that palm or that sort of hand to go over towards the left-hand side, keeping those shoulders nice and low. For 3, for 2, 1. You're going to feel it in the underside of the wrist, coming back to center, pushing into your fingers, and then to the other side. For 3, for 2, for 1, back up to center. Now we're going to try and twist those fingers down towards the floor. You're going to feel it in this elbow area as well as on the wrist. For 3, for 2, keep those shoulders nice and low. For 1, slowly coming back up to that prayer position and then rotating inwards. So taking your fingers down the front of your torso. You're going to feel it in your shoulders, in your elbows, and also maybe around the wrist area for 2, for 1. Good. Back up to center. We're going to do the whole thing again. So I'm going to actively push my right fingers into my left hand. 2, 1. Back up to center. Other side. For 3, for 2, for 1. Back up to center. Rolling those hands down. For 3. Keep that pushing into your hands. For 2, for 1. Coming back up. And then rolling inwards. So you can allow your elbows to come out a little bit to allow that movement. Keep those shoulders nice and low. For 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly releasing out. Rolling those shoulders, rolling those wrists. Warming up this wrist area a little bit further, taking your right hand out in front of you, taking your left hand over the top. So almost opposite palms. And then just drawing your left hand back. You're going to feel a really big pull down the front of this arm. If it's too much, just ease off a little bit. Try and straighten both arms where possible and keep your shoulders nice and low. For 3, for 2, for 1. We're just going to roll your right wrist out, your left wrist out. So we're coming back to a nice central position. Then we're going to try and roll all the way over as if we're on a steering wheel. Keep that shoulder as low as possible. You can see mine up by my ear. It's just my movement. For 3, for 2, for 1, coming all the way back. Good. From a side profile, the other side, left hand out in front of you, right hand over the top, palms meeting, lengthen out those hands, draw your right hand back towards your torso. For 3, for 2, for 1, rolling all the way around, keeping those shoulders low, and then try and going a little bit further, so bring that left wrist on top of the right wrist. For 3, for 2, for 1, slowly releasing, rolling those wrists, rolling those shoulders. Coming onto your knees now. Taking your right hand and then placing it under your right knee. If you can't get into this position or being on your knees is really sore, you can crouch down or you can be on a chair or put your hand on a chair, whatever's more comfortable. But I'm going to place the top of my hand on the mat. I'm actually going to place my knee over the top of that hand. And for me, that sort of really helps with easing out this position. For 3, rocking back and forth, trying to get my knee right into that wrist area. Just vary how much you're weight bearing depending on how you're feeling or how your wrists are feeling. If they're particularly sore, just go easy. Just mobilize the area. For 3, for 2, maybe rock a little bit further. For 1, good. From this position, I'm just going to move sideways. So I'm going to rock to my left, to my right. Try and keep that knee as close into the wrist as I can. Keep that right arm nice and long. For 2, for 1, good. Releasing that hand, placing it on the mat, easing out that wrist, switching sides. Taking your left hand underneath your left knee now, or the variation that you've chosen. Trying to get that knee really close to that wrist, and again, just rocking back and forth. 3, for 2, for 1, good. Coming to that neutral position and then just moving from side to side. For 3, try and allow the movement to come from your wrists, not your shoulder. 2, 1, good. Releasing that hand, wiggling it out. Coming on to your fists now. I'm going to have my thumbs just tucked behind my knuckles so I can have my fists flat on the floor in front of me. So I'm going to start with both my fists flat on the floor. And I'm slowly going to roll onto the bottom of my fists, keeping my hands nice and locked, and then I'm going to try and drive my arms forwards over those fists, keeping those fists nice and tight and locked. For 3, for 2, for 1. Releasing those hands, wiggling them out. Now taking my right fist towards the mat, just as we did with both, but just your right one. I'm going to take my knees either side of this fist, take my left hand off the mat, and I'm slowly going to move from side to side, keeping that fist nice and fixed, but allowing the movement to come from my wrist. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Releasing that wrist, fist from the ground, switching hands. Again, just trying to stay nice and solid or nice and straight from the wrist, the elbow to the shoulder. Try not to break too much there unless it's painful. Trying to really develop some strength here. So taking your knees either side of that left fist, moving from side to side. 3, you might find as you come inwards, it's a little bit pinchy around this side here where I'm pointing to on my wrist. Just take it easy. 2, 1. Good. Releasing the left fist from the mat. Doing the last little final exercise for wrist strengthening. Taking our fist down towards the mat. Almost as if we're holding 2 things in our hands. And we're slowly going to move onto our right fist and then onto the bottom of that fist. So we're going to knuckles, over the top of the knuckles. Fist, knuckles, over the top to the top of the fist. Good. We're going to do that with the other hand. If you're finding this hard, just have your hands quite close into the body, less of a loading there. So left hand now, so left fist, knuckles, tops of the fist. Try and keep the arm straight. Fist, knuckles, tops of the fist. Last time. Fist, knuckles, tops of the fist. Good. From here, we're going to take both our hands now, find a position that we think that we can do. So for me, I'm going to be here. So I'm going to go onto my fists, slowly going to go onto my knuckles. Just feel how much this weight is sort of loading through the arms. If it's too much, take those fists back and then rolling over onto the top of those fists, holding this position for 3, for 2, for 1, slowly coming back with control. Onto the tops of the bottom of those fists. One more time, maybe take those arms out a little bit further. Fists, knuckles, tops of the fists. Try and keep those arms nice and straight. Keep that position in the top of the back for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly take those hands back. Sort of spread your fingers onto the mat. Come up onto your fingertips, rocking back onto the heels of your hands for 3, 2, 1. Good. Walking your hands up towards your body, rolling those shoulders, moving your head from side to side. You might have held some tension in the top of your body as you were trying to engage all the way down the arm for 2, for 1. Good. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that session. Wrist mobility, especially when loading and holding weights, or if you're ever having to hold on to something for a period of time, is really important. And building that strength can help us avoid lots of different issues or help us reduce our risk of injury and niggles all the way up the arm, even including up to the shoulder. I hope to see you on my next session. Thank you so much.